Okay, now we're going to start. I picked my brush that I'm going to start out with. It's a detail brush. It's got a great handle placement, finger placement, and it's got really good tip. Okay. I am going to be using this Flow Medium. It's Master's Touch, and you put it in your paint and it makes it much smoother and easier to work with. Like it a lot. Get anything good?
So infusing stuff now just costs enhancement cores,
Ah,
which most people have a million of.
yeah.
holy crap, I might actually be making it to the tower.
No way. Maybe the reason you weren't making it to the tower is because
The game hated me.
there were so many people trying to get to the tower.
Yeah.
I mean, all 21,000 of y'all.
Destination, Kepler. To reach Kepler, open your director. Well. I can't go there. I can't go there. By the expansion.
You can't go to Kepler? What is Kepler?
That's the new destination.
So you can play the game. You gotta pay the $10?
Huh?
You gotta pay the $10?
$10. Isn't it like $100?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you said that it was just a season pass.
What cipher is this? They said they were doing away with gunsmith nowadays. But yet, there they are.
Maybe they haven't had the opportunity yet to get rid of them. Maybe they tried to get rid of them and that's what crashed the whole damn game.
Yeah, people revolted against the machine. My way is not my own. It's yours. Oh, that's interesting.
What?
They changed the Zur thing a little bit. Now they just have all the exotic armor right on the front page that you can buy.
I don't know why they're making that exotic stuff so easily accessible. Instead of all they had to do was freaking make them harder to get and improve what they did.
Zur doesn't have regular gear anymore.
He only deals with the best now?
He's still pretty useless.
No.
A number of free pieces of focused exotic armor are available to returning players in an archetype of your choice. Speak to Ada to learn more.
Ooh, getting free armor? It's because you've been playing for a while? Has anything changed at the...
Huh?
Has anything changed visually at the tower?
I don't see it. No, I don't see anything at the tower visually that's changed yet. I mean, I guess realistically there'd be no reason for it.
Right, but why then is, there's so many glitches? Welcome back.
I discovered a method to reproduce some of our most effective armor. It worked wonderfully, but proved too expensive for mass production. It would be a waste to let the prototypes go unused, so the Vanguard authorized me to distribute them. She hands you a small pile of requisition orders. Just remember, I only have so many to hand out. Once you've made your selections, I'll pull them out of storage for you. Okay. Exotic archetype focusing. And there's the error.
There's the what? What'd you say?
I said there's the error.
Oh. The new, gun? The new gun is the error?
No, I was just reading the screen and it went to an error code.
Oh.
So one of the new things that they're doing with armor is what's called archetypes. And what that means is you can focus. Remember how you could like focus your ghost so that your armor drop with like a specific high stat?
Yeah.
Well, now you can kind of do that with the new armor. There's 6 different categories to focus your armor to give you the best stats in 6 different categories. Does that make sense? If you want your abilities to regenerate faster, that's an archetype. If you want your grenades to be buffed, that's an archetype. Like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, I'm guessing the thing with Ada just now was you can focus existing armor that you have. Like basically you can rearrange the stats of armor that you already had. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sounds like actually you can't.
But then the screen,
Yeah, so you can't.
So I'm gonna try to go back.
Might want to stay away from Ada this time.
Try this again. So there's nothing at Drifter anymore,
Really?
except for buying some old legacy Gambit gear.
So does that mean Gambit's done?
No, because it's still on the portal screen.
Hmm.
I don't think he's a vendor anymore.
He lost his job. He's got more
Well,
important things to
technically
do.
He's supposed to be out He's supposed to be out in the Kepler system right now.
Well, you know what? They need to fix that.
Plus, I think he's banging Eris.
That slut.
Focus previous discovered exotics with the gunner archetype, guaranteeing weapons as a primary stat and grenade as a secondary stat. Oh, I see. So you can buy all of the previous exotics from Ada, but you can focus them with which 2 stats you want. Focus previously discovered exotics with the bulk word archetype, guaranteeing health as a primary stat and class as a secondary stat. Specialist, guaranteeing class as a primary, weapons as a secondary, grenade and super and melee and health. That's kind of cool. But I think Hackett had a good point that the old armor you already have probably has an overall higher stat level because of the new tier system. It's just it's confusing.
I'm sure you'll figure it out, though.
What is this?
Is that the dog?
Yeah, it's Archie.
Notice there are no dogs left in the world. There's cats.
Cats and birds, about all I've seen.
I haven't seen any wild cats. Actually, most of the cats I've seen were like holograms. Were there any real cats? For some reason, I'm thinking there were.
Ooh.
Wait, can you remember?
Wasn't there regular cats? Was it Star? No.
I know the queen had some cats.
Yeah.
Those were real. They were like wandering around the we were finding them on the tower, right?
And didn't we have to find? Didn't we have to find that was a secret thing? Like there was some in the coil. Remember that one room had 2 versions, and we kept.
Yeah, didn't we have to like rescue cats or something?
Yeah. Crow's still over here, but he does nothing. We can't interact with him.
Has he ever done anything?
He was supposed to be the new Hunter Vanguard. I thought he was going to be a vendor.
Yeah, but you know what? Oh yeah, that's true. In Destiny 1, the vendors did more than just stand there. It was like they interacted. Like whenever you got to a certain point, you would go to them and they'd give you your next mission, you know?
Yeah.
Tell you bad things that were happening everywhere. So many things in Destiny 1 that they need to bring back.
Here's the new shooting range.
Oh, that's cool. Where exactly is it located on the tower?
You have to select it, and then you like fly there.
Oh,
What is this?
destination unknown. So is the helm still on at the tower?
I did not look, but I would imagine so.
Yeah, because people are still doing the thing with whatever it's called.
No, Echo, they're all gone.
Oh.
Display distance 600. Okay, so we have to like.
They should have a target range where the target moves.
That's what I just did. I turned on simulate target behavior. And
Oh.
I had a whole range full of chickens, and I clicked on simulate target behavior, and I had about 20 chickens blasting me.
Oh shit.
Here, watch.
No, I can't. I can't.
So you can bring up all the different factions of bad guys, and then they give you 4 versions of those bad guys from the like ads all the way up to the big bosses. And then you can also turn on their normal behavior so that they attack you like normal.
Hmm.
And they got a rally banner, so you can rally and up your everything up. And they got a prismatic well over here also, so you can well up your prismatic. A lot better than the little dealio on Mars.
Yeah.
Where do these stairs go?
To heaven. You know the song?
What is this up here? I feel like this should have an investigate button. I'm really impressed that they let you up here.
is back, everybody. Welcome back for more SBTV, where every day's a great day, not to be in a cult. By the way, in the chat, I said happy Sunday, everyone. It is, in fact, Saturday. Apologies. And that's quite a relief, because I thought it was Sunday. So, happy Saturday, everyone. There's something about how exhausting the Friday night protest is that when I wake up the next morning, I'm like, it's gotta be Sunday. But yes. By the way, we're putting out the bat signal to George. George, if you're out there, we need you in the back office. I forgot to ask you before we went live. Okay, so let's see. There's probably a bunch of stuff that we can talk about, but one of the things that inspired us to schedule this little chat is I forget the first thing that we started talking about that then led to the other thing. But then I ended up talking about how crazy it was that Ellen DeGeneres and what's the other guy's name? James Corden.
Yeah.
That of all the people.
I remember we were talking about at the stoplight, like going out to the middle of the street and like doing like a flash mob or something. That he would do.
Oh, that's right.
Show.
We were talking about some funny protest stuff and protest ideas.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned James Corden had this bit that he did, where they would go out with like a famous band in the middle of an intersection and start putting on a little concert when the light turned red.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'd be like a 20-second concert.
Yes.
And then I was like, how crazy is it that James Corden and Ellen DeGeneres were the two people whose brands were, aren't we the nicest, kindest, most gentle people in the whole world? And yet they're the two that get canceled for being absolute nightmares to people behind the scenes. And yet there's other people who are known to be absolute nightmares, like David Letterman. Like he's just known to be a total prick. Never gets canceled for being mean to anybody. And then you made a point. You're like, and the point that you made, I don't want to speak for you, but
Oh, it's okay. I was just saying that I think that people get more disturbed by the inauthenticity rather than just somebody who's like a dick and then they just act like that. But it's when somebody like pretends to be one way and really they're another. It comes like it triggers something in people's mind that's like, don't trust that person or I don't like that.
that's right. And then instantly it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if who you are, if your public persona is one way, and that's not real, it's not authentic,
Mhm.
and that's the version of you that people fall in love with and support, and then they find that than normal. Because YouTube has all these different signals it sends you to try to give you an idea of whether you're succeeding or not. And so then you have success just as defined by numbers. But then you go, which number represents the thing I'm trying to accomplish most? Anyway, these are all just fun things to think about sometimes. And I tend to feel like if we're talking about just being authentic, though, you know, you can talk about your own story, you can talk about Scientology as a whole, you can answer people's questions, you can protest. But I think by and large, people can tell if someone is being authentic.
Yes, I think so too.
We like to believe that.
Yeah, I think
But there's a lot of inauthentic people who seem to get a lot of sort of reinforcement. But, like, I mean, without naming names, because I promise I tried not to stir as much shit as possible. There's only one person in our entire ex-Scientology who actually lies about and inflates their own Scientology history. And in some cases, I can see this person getting a lot of positive reinforcement. But in other ways, this person's channel does not grow at all and hasn't in years. And so you go, it depends on what signal you're looking at as to whether this person is actually tricking people or not. You know?
Right.
And there does seem to be a small amount of people who do not seem to see that this person is a liar about most things and inauthentic and exaggerating and self-promoting. And it's frustrating to see people fooled by the bullshit.
Right.
But then you look at the macro numbers and you see there's no growth whatsoever.
Right.
And I don't know, it's hard to know what to make of all that sometimes. But that's an example of someone who is inauthentic, but somehow manages to keep getting some support from some quarters. I don't even know how to finish that thought. I don't even know how to finish that thought.
Well, it is interesting, like, inauthentic, but also very, like, people-pleasing and very, like, safe. And I feel like,
But also almost stalkerish in some ways. You know?
yes, yeah, that's true.
When you say safe, you mean everyone's safe with me.
Or just doesn't say anything that would be not well received. You know, maybe just,
Or just goes in collaborating with people or someone who's destructive. You know? I think I know what you're saying.
yeah.
But that's an example of probably one of the most inauthentic people in the entire community.
Yeah.
But he's such a relentless self-promoter and a stalker and harasser that he eventually gets it, worms his way in here and worms his way through. And everybody knows it. Like, everybody knows it. No reason to beat that dead horse.
Yeah, what I was thinking when we were talking outside was that I had done a video the other day that was talking about how people who are still in Scientology, they have some ability to say no to doing bad things, such as making terrible videos about ex-members, about people who used to be their friends, and putting them online. And I think when we were talking about authenticity, there's this thing that they say there, or people say about them, it's like, okay, well, they think that they're safe on the planet, they think that they're helping people. And that is actually inauthentic. I truly do not believe that those people believe that they're helping anybody when they're making those videos about ex-members. And it's just like a sneaky little justification that gets in there. Now,
A little bit on the warm side up there?
Scientology is helping people, but
How you doing?
that when they're doing that, that they truly believe that
What'd you get done?
mankind and that they're doing it out of anything caring. I think that they're doing
I took all those lights out and I tested
so that they
the big
don't have
panels that are
trouble
going to go on the ceiling so I can see which ones throw what kind of light,
Right?
so I can determine like where they're going to go
And how matchy they're gonna be.
and how what.
Matchy.
Yeah, nothing's going to match.
I know. So what'd you come up with?
There's 2 4-bulb fluorescent panels.
In the box?
They actually seem to be brighter than the LED ones, so I'll probably put those ones towards the back of the garage, which is kind of where like the workspace is going to be.
Yeah, it's dark back there, away from the door.
And then there's 1 2-strip big panel LED. That is what you already have up.
All over the place.
Those are all the 2-strip LEDs.
What? No, there's 4-strip LEDs.
There's 5-strip LEDs,
Okay.
but they're actually
Lower.
they're weaker LEDs.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they don't really throw as much light.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's why I wanted to test them all to see what, plus they don't all have covers. So I need to see.
What do you mean they don't all have covers? From the boxes?
Yeah.
Those should have
Every
already.
single one of those lights is broken in some fashion.
Those were all not broken. That's why I still have them in the boxes, because they were not broken. They've broken. They broke.
Well, they were all opened.
No, exactly, because I checked them.
Yeah.
Well, that
Well,
sucks.
the two fluorescent bulb panels, they didn't even have the frosted panels in the box. They just had the frames for the frosted panels.
Shit. Well, there's 1 frosted panel.
There's 2. I found 2 separate
okay.
frosted panels, and I think they're for those lights.
Okay.
Yeah, so the replacement 4-foot LED bulbs, I pulled those out of the box with all the bulbs in it, the stand-up bulbs.
Right?
You actually have to rewire the light to use those.
Oh, I know. You need the.
So what I'll probably do is I'll probably use those in the wall lights.
Okay, the replacement doohickeys are in the boxes.
Yeah.
And does that come with drivers?
No, that's why you have to rewire the light.
Oh, okay. I'll use as many of those bad boys as you want. They're all yours. And even the fluorescent bulb ones, if you want to turn those into LED tube lighting, go right ahead.
Not the ceiling ones.
Or if any of the ones are broken and don't turn on but have a baffle,
Yeah.
you know. Do they all turn on?
I didn't try the ones that are going on the walls yet.
Well, if they don't turn on, there's the driver is there, so you can change it to LED if they don't turn on. So you feel like you got a lot done out there?
No, I feel overwhelmed actually. I don't think I'm going to do that fuse panel.
How come?
That fuse panel is really what goes in like Thomas's room. That's a main house 200 amp fuse panel.
Yeah.
I think I'll just use the fuse panel that's there, but maybe I'll just buy all new fuses for it, just to start fresh with it. I need to take the face off and see what is actually wired up, because I can only read about half what's written in marker.
I know, right?
I know some of that stuff goes to the apartment.
Mhm.
That should be relatively easy to trace.
One thing goes out to the fence. There's an outlet. There's wiring that goes under the ground out to there's an outlet there.
Yeah.
Out all the way out by the fence. I have
Okay.
to avoid it.
For the
No, it doesn't power that, which is so freaking bizarre. Why would that be there?
Go get some food.
How about you go get some Chinese and bring it back? Oh yeah, you wanted to go to Home Depot. You're just gonna pour. Let's go to Home Depot tomorrow. I don't really want to go. Do you really want to go?
Yeah.
You do? All right. Where do you want to get food? Not Ichiban. You were gonna say that, weren't you? Do you want me to say what? What's the matter?
No. It wouldn't even let me log in.
Destiny wouldn't?
No, so you know where it comes up to the main, your character screen? And you gotta click on, Titan your hunter.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as I do that, it errors out.
Oh wow. How many times did you try? You keep getting kicked out?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to restart the PlayStation. Cannot connect to the network.
Oh, that's weird. Go into settings and make sure that it's Wi-Fi connected.
Okay. Network?
Yeah. Hey, baby.
Hey, Mom.
What's going on?
Nothing much. Just got a bit bored.
Not you.
I know, right? I would never.
I know.
By the way, if you don't eat those brownies fast enough, I'm gonna finish them off.
No, go ahead, baby. I'm actually trying to not eat brownies. So, listen, you have to be more careful about the oven. There's 3 things in this house that cost a lot of money to run. The hot water
The
heater,
electricity
the heater.
and the oven.
the air conditioner,
Okay.
the hot water heater,
Yeah.
and the oven.
Okay.
You had the oven on last night for a few hours.
To be fair, I was really tired because it was.
I understand.
3 a.m.
I know, but cool. Don't do that again.
The brownies didn't taste very good though.
Well, at least they didn't burn. You didn't forget they were in the oven.
No, I didn't. I set a timer.
Next time, set a timer, and the timer needs to say, "Shut off oven."
Yeah, I forgot about that part. I was thinking like microwave.
But no, go ahead, baby. I don't want any brownies, but thank you. Did it let you in this time?
Huh?
Did it let you in this time?
What?
Did it let you in this time?
No.
Now is the time to watch Asdacross to see what he has to say about this whole situation. You give up?
Mm,
Well, somebody broke destiny.
Hey guys, Tyler here. The Q are one of the most powerful species in the Star Trek universe. First introduced in the Next Generation pilot Encounter at Farpoint. The Q possess seemingly godlike powers. Q have been shown manipulating the laws of time and space, creating grand illusions that are indistinguishable from reality, and testing the limits of human creativity and human patience. The Q hail from a dimension known as the Q continuum. But what are their true origins? Did they evolve from a familiar humanoid form like so many other aliens in Star Trek? How did their near omnipotent abilities actually work? And what are their limits? And finally, what are the Q's true plans for humanity? Those are all questions I intend to answer in today's video. So buckle up. We're talking about the Q.
Talking about the Q.
Before we take a deep dive into the Q's origins and history, a quick overview of their abilities can provide some context. Normally, this is where I'd offer a laundry list of what makes the Q unique, and there's a lot that does. But the truth is, the full scope of their powers is not really known. What the Q claim that they are includes the following: that they are omnipotent, omniscient, and immortal, among other things. No doubt, we see demonstrations of their sheer cosmic power on multiple occasions. They can traverse vast distances of space and time, including visiting realms outside the observable universe. They can alter physical constants, change the orbits of planets and moons, create and destroy matter on a whim, and more. Delancey's Q further states in the episode Deja Q that his species does not experience claustrophobia, being too hot or too cold, growing feeble with age, losing their hair, catching disease, being ticklish, sneezing, having an itch, a pimple, bad breath, having to bathe, having to sleep, eat, or become seriously injured.
I wonder if Gaia was
Now,
part of the
much
Q.
this is probably true,
no.
but not all of it is. Indeed, the Q known as Quinn, a dissident in the continuum.
Guinan is a being. Guinan is a very old being that does have very strong powers. I don't know if she's on the level of the Q, but I do know that Q is afraid of her.
Yeah, like she's the only one that Q is afraid of.
Yeah.
Claims that his people are not truly omnipotent. We see this demonstrated in the Voyager episode Death Wish, in which Quinn, who has grown bored with being immortal, tries to commit suicide, but he can't do this in his natural form, so he must ingest poison as a humanoid, so he can finally die. This raises lots of other questions about what the Q can't do. Indeed, I haven't really talked much yet about their knowledge of the future. While I think that the Q are aware of various possible futures, much like the sphere builders from Star Trek Enterprise, I think it's fair to say that they don't know exactly how things are going to play out, not only inside their continuum, but in the prime timeline itself. They still perceive time linearly, and just as their inability to commit suicide means they're not truly omnipotent, their ability to be surprised means they're not truly omniscient either. There are at least two major examples of this. One is when Q is surprised that the USS Voyager has become stranded in the Delta Quadrant. He says that Starfleet was not supposed to visit this region of space for another century. Another is when members of the Q continuum express that they don't know what would happen if one of their own were to die, that it could cause chaos in the continuum. And in fact, this is actually what happens after Quinn commits suicide. The continuum descends into a destructive civil war. But how is it that they got to be this powerful in the first place? In canon, it's not entirely clear when the Q actually came into existence, particularly when their supposed corporeal ancestors first evolved. It's believed that they may have originated as humanoids, not unlike many of the other intelligent species in the galaxy, who arose from a genetic code seeded by ancient humanoids 4.5 billion years ago. Quinn states this is how his species began, that is, at least like humanoids, while Delancey's Q states that the Q have always existed. But given the nature of their ability to exist across time and space, this isn't necessarily contradictory. Here's why. You see, the Q's corporeal ancestors, if they did in fact have them, could have evolved at any point in the history of the universe, be it billions of years in the past or even trillions of years in the future. But once they became advanced enough to transcend the normal bounds of space-time, inhabiting an alternate plane that became the continuum, they would have been able to access any point in time since they shed this limitation. This is how Q and female Q would have been able to begin their romantic relationship 4 billion years ago. I was good, wasn't I? And how they could have had some presence dating back all the way to the Big Bang, possibly before. The Q predate their ancestors from our perspective, but not necessarily from theirs. But what evolutionary path could have taken the Q from being material life forms to becoming extra-dimensional? Well, that's also quite hard to say, but there are a number of conclusions that we can draw alternative scale that extends downward from type 1 minus to type omega minus. Type 1 minus can work with macro scale objects, like building structures. Type 2 minus can alter living beings' genetic code. Type 3 minus can make or break molecular bonds. Type 4 minus can harness atoms to create nanotechnologies and artificial life. Type 5 minus can manipulate the atomic nucleus. Type 6 minus can employ the most elementary particles to create organized complexity. And finally, type omega minus can change the basic structure of space and time. Under this classification, humanity is approaching type 4 minus status, while the Q can be argued to rather neatly fit into the type omega minus status. Much like other non-corporeal species, such as the Organians and the Metrons, and maybe even prophets, one possible evolutionary path for the Q may have been advancing from an industrial or information society to conducting engineering on increasingly smaller scales of the universe. Eventually, after thousands, millions, or even billions of years, the Q would have figured out a way to manipulate the wave functions of the atoms in their own bodies, possibly disconnecting their consciousness in the process, in order to ascend to a new plane of reality, what would become the Q continuum. Here, they would take a form that is incomprehensible to three-dimensional brains, and they would begin to experience billions of years of history and culture, dating back, again, all the way to the Big Bang. After a while, though, they would create a stagnant culture where everything interesting that could be said and done has been said and done. That is, until Quinn disrupts things with his whole "I don't want to live forever anymore" thing.
It's game on, because now you can watch the same thing with the best in sports from ESPN Plus right here on Disney Plus.
Humanity has always been a curiosity for at least one Q. John Glance's Q. Making official first contact with the Federation in 2364, he proceeds to put humanity on trial for being a grievously savage child race, in his words. He visits the Enterprise D a total of 7 times. During one of these visits in 2365, he prematurely introduces Starfleet to the board. This encounter occurs, in the words of Guinan, much sooner than it should have. This means that Q has invariably altered the fate of the Prime Timeline. As Picard notes at the end of the episode Q Who, however, this may have been an example of Q doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, giving Starfleet a kick in their complacency and helping them better prepare for what would lay ahead. Indeed, the Q and humanity have an intricately woven relationship that begins to manifest around the mid to late 24th century. The Q Civil War, sparked by Quinn's death, is naturally fought between two sides. Conservatives, who fear the influence that human compassion and curiosity has had on the Q's timeless, stable, and apathetic society, and liberals, who seek to revitalize their society by continuing contact with other species. While many Q view humans and other corporeal life forms as being next to non-entities, the way a person might look at an amoeba, other Q see the potential in humanity. Indeed, various Q have commented on how one day humans might become like them. This has led some fans to theorize that the Q are future humans. A strong claim, to be sure, and one that is not really entertained in any licensed media. For one thing, the fact that Q can not only alter the timeline without grave concern, but also be surprised at many human actions, indicates to me, at least, that the Q and humans have always been separate species. In this way, humanity is a curiosity for them, not because they're the Q's actual ancestors, but because they see humanity's potential to one day rival their own power. How long will it take humanity to reach this level of development? Well, there's really no way to predict that, but as Q has said on multiple occasions, the trial never ends. Thank you all so much for watching this video. The Q are obviously a topic I've been wanting to tackle for a long time, and of course this is only a fraction of the information we know about them, so you may see more about them on this channel in the future. In the meantime,
Fellas, tomorrow is finally the day. Edge of Fates will be launching, which will mark the start of a brand new multi-year saga inside of Destiny 2. This is going to be shaping the foundations for the game forever, and there's a lot happening with these updates. If you haven't been keeping up with all of the reveals, no worries. Today we're going to be going over the 20 biggest changes arriving in Edge of Fate tomorrow. Without further ado, let's begin. Starting with number 1, content delivery. This is arguably the biggest change coming this year. You see, unlike previous years, Destiny's content rollouts this year will be small, but more frequent. Instead of one major expansion a year, followed by 3 or 4 seasons, instead, we're going to be receiving 2 medium-sized expansions each year, with a free major update positioned between each expansion. The way this is going to work is Edge of Fate will be launching tomorrow. Then, come September, we're going to have Ash and Iron. The next expansion after that will be Renegades. This is going to be around December. Yes, it's a Star Wars-inspired DLC. And then finally, March 2026, we will have Shadow and Order. Now, the major update is going to be free to all players. We're going to include things such as new and reprised activities, new sandbox metas, new events, new modifiers, and challenges, as well as new gear and artifact mods. And come Ash and Iron, we're actually going to be returning to the Plaguelands. Now, for my sweet little new lights that don't know anything about the Plaguelands, this is a location back inside of Destiny 1 that came to us in the Rise of Iron expansion. Now, in Ash and Iron, we're going to be getting a brand
Snowy
new
there.
game mode that Bungie said we have not seen yet. This one is going to be called Reclaim. We'll also be getting a new exotic mission, 2 new exotic weapons, new gear, new pinnacle ops, as well as an epic raid. Now, as for what we're receiving in Edge of Fates, that's essentially what we're going to be covering
framed around this entire video. I just wanted to give you the layout of the content we're going to be getting over the next year, and I really do hope it lands. Taking us to change number 2, a new sign. Edge of Fate is going to be the very beginning of a brand new sign within Destiny called the Fate sign. The next 2 expansions that will be arriving in 2026 are Shatter Cycle, which will be in summer 2026, and then in the winter of 2026, the Alchemist. Story-wise, we know that initially it's going to be heavily focused on the Nine. The catalyst for this story is that the emissary of the Nine, who is Orin, decides to quit, and the Nine are looking for replacements. Now, we don't really know who that may be. Maybe it's us, maybe it's Lodi, or someone else is up for speculation. Now, we also know that there's going to be links to the 1950s and Chicago, which is extremely interesting. No lie, the collector's edition here recently just went out, and dude, the lore is getting crazy. Supposedly, Graviton Lance was the weapon that killed John F. Kennedy. The speculation is that it was Lodi who did it. Crazy, I know.
Who's Lodi?
Uncharted territory. This is an understatement.
Who's Lodi?
Who's Lodi?
Is that the guy with the glasses? The new
Yeah.
guy? Okay.
Number 3, we're getting a new destination, and with it, abilities and puzzles. Edge of Fate is bringing a new destination, that being Kepler. Now, this destination is being pitched to us as a destination different from any we've ever experienced. It's been inspired by Metroidvania types, featuring a non-linear campaign, meaning you're not forced to complete a selection of missions back to back. You can just do the main story if you want, or you can do side quests, talk to different characters, or just explore at your own pace. Now, similar to the Final Shape, the destination will unlock more as you explore and complete missions. In fact, exploration throughout Kepler will be pretty much the key feature of the destination, with many puzzles and secrets that will need to complete to progress, and more that you can just find by just exploring. Now, to solve these puzzles and secrets, we will be given dark matter abilities. These will be locked to Kepler's destination and will include Mattermore, Void Relocator Cannon, and Matter Spark. That's right, baby. Fellas, we can turn into a ball. Now, look, we've memed on this thing, and I hope it's going to be good, because Bungie shows us this damn ball every chance they get. Now, as far as the Void Relocator Cannon, it's similar to a Scorch Cannon, but you shoot and ricochet off specific targets to bypass laser walls. And no, you can't eager edge through this thing. I've already tried. Mattermore allows us to telekinetically control objects. This is going to replace our melee ability with this strange shuriken that will use to throw echoing objects to shift their position in space. And we'll use this to create platforms and unlock areas of the map. And when you throw these at enemies, they also deal damage and suspend them. Now, Bungie mentioned that they intentionally designed these puzzles with sequence breaking in mind. The more you upgrade your abilities, the more options you have at your disposal to solve these puzzles in unique ways. Now, change number 4. In terms of activities, one of the features that many folks are looking forward to is the inclusion of world tiers. Now, this is going to change the difficulty of the campaign and the world we play, which is Kepler. We have our Brave difficulty, which is your normal mode. We have Legendary difficulty, which many of us tackle day 1 so we can get the exotic that's associated with our class. But then, once you've completed this, it opens up more difficulty options. The next 2 difficulties will be Fabled and Mythic. Now, we saw this a few weeks ago. Fabled was set at 150 power, but gives you a 3 times reward multiplier. There's also a bunch of different modifiers and combined adjustments, such as Multiplicity, Galvanize, Scourge 1, and Meta, which is the most interesting one as it caps players' power at 30 below. Think of this as almost like contest mode. Now, in a recent interview with Milo and Rob Stevens, it was mentioned that Fable was going to feel more like a Nightfall in terms of difficulty, whereas Mythic would feel around the same difficulty as Master. But he did mention that the jump from Legendary to Fable is not as big as the jump from Fable to Mythic. Now, aside from higher difficulty equals better loot, there's going to be other reasons to run these higher difficulties, such as a quest on Mythic difficulty, which is going to unlock a variant of the Kepler armor sets. I love little things that are like hidden behind difficulties, guys, giving us more reasons to hit these activities outside of just the one time. Now, change number 5. We are getting a raid, but also an epic raid. Now, an epic raid is essentially going to be the same raid that we're getting in Edge of Fates, but it's going to drop in Ashenot. And the way that it was explained to me was almost like a Pantheon-style rework to these raid encounters. Now, what I mean by that, it's still going to be the same raid, it's still going to be the same consecutive order of encounters, but if you remember Pantheon, for instance, Rogue, Bungie decided to give us not 1, but 2 rogues. They take the original raid encounters, and they just add some spice to them. They give us some new mechanics, maybe some new enemy types, they change the encounters up a bit, and on top of this, we're also supposed to get more narrative and lore with these epic raids. Now, in the recent interview with Robbie and Mr. Waffle Waffles, Milo did ask about the epic raid, and Robbie describes it as permeating the original raid. Things like challenges that cover the entire raid or specific encounters. He also says to think of this as a part 2 to the raid, as the changes do relate to that story and the lore. I hope it's good, guys. I will say I am intrigued, but I really do hope Bungie mixes things up, gets a little crazy. Change number 6. Something you have probably heard over and over that Bungie is so proud of. The portal. In the Edge of Fates, our destination menu is no more. I mean, it's still there, but it's not going to be added to in the future. Instead, what we have is this new menu called the portal, which puts all of our activities into categories, allowing you to hop right into a game mode fairly quickly based on what you're looking for. We have solo ops, fire team ops, pinnacle ops, and crucible ops. Now, what this aims to do is to get people into playing the game faster instead of clicking through multiple destinations to find what you need to do. Rewards are also now visible, meaning if you're trying to hunt for a specific item, just simply sift through the activities until you find it. And the other beautiful thing is there are no reward caps like we've had in previous years with pinnacle rewards, meaning we can farm forever. Now, speaking of rewards, we also have the ability to modify the activities themselves. You can either grant yourself buffs or even debuffs, and this can affect your multiplier and therefore affects the reward you get at the end of this. I know not many people are that excited about the portal. I wish Bungie could just do a system that involves both, but without a doubt, the portal is something that they have heavily invested in, and this is the future of what Destiny is going to look like. Change number 7. Tiered loot. That's right, guys. Bungie is giving us a tier system. You see, Bungie has chosen tiered loot as their solution to solve reward scaling inside of Destiny. All of the new legendary weapons and armor that's earnable in Edge of Fates will take advantage of this new system. To put it simply, gear will drop with an icon indicating its tier, and this will range from tier 1 to tier 5, and this will depend on the difficulty of the activity that you're tackling. Now, as the gear tier increases, you will gain more benefits like enhanced traits, cosmetic upgrades, more stats, kill effects, etc. However, don't expect to earn the maximum tier rewards right out the gates. Higher tiers will require considerable grind. For instance, we may not even be able to acquire tier 5 gear until several weeks into the expansion, but the benefits will most definitely be worth it. Which takes us to change number 8, featured gear. All new weapons and armor will now be marked with a blue tag, indicating that they are part of the featured loot pool. Now, featured weapons will receive an intrinsic damage buff, and featured armor will receive intrinsic damage resistance. Now, this buff will scale based off the tier of the gear in question. So, for instance, tier 5 weapon will max out at 10% extra damage. And tier 5 armor will max out at 15% damage resistance. Now, featured gear doesn't just include new loots. Some of our current exotics have also been added to this new featured gear list. These are hand-selected by the developers to align somewhat loosely with the proposed meta for the next 6 months. Now, despite not being tiered, based on some of the footage we've seen during the dev live stream, it appears that featured exotics will behave as if they were tier 5 and receive the maximum possible bonus, meaning they themselves should be powerful on day 1 in terms of more damage resist and dealing more damage. Now, keep in mind, this does not mean your exotic armor pieces here are tier 5. Remember, exotic armor pieces are actually going to be capped out at tier 2, and we won't see that updated exotics until sometime next year. So when I say tier 5, I just mean it has the damage resist and extra damage that a tier 5 should have. Granted, we'll be doing testing on this just to make sure. The point is that Bungie's intention with new gear is to create a list of loot new players know that they should both acquire and use. Now, some hardcore players are of course concerned that the new gear bonuses may be too strong. This is just one of those things, guys, we just have to wait and see. At the end of the day, your old god rolls will still be effective in the new sandbox. However, towards the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing tier 5 weapons outclass even god roll tier 3s. Now, change number 9. Guys, we have a load of new gear that's coming tomorrow. First off, we've got a few new exotic weapons. The third iteration, which is a Boy Scout rifle that will be tied to the season pass. Marking and defeating targets with this weapon will grant the user invisibility. We've got Graviton Spike, which is the first exotic hand cannon added to the game since Hawk Moon back in 2020. It's kind of hilarious because at one time, it seemed like Bungie couldn't stop giving us exotic hand cannons. Now, this one is going to be obtainable via the exotic quest. It has the ability to shoot both stasis and arc energy, and dare I say, might be one of the sexiest weapons I have ever seen. Then the new Desert Perpetual Raid will also drop a new exotic weapon. But at the moment, of course, we don't have any information about this weapon. Since data miners are getting nuked, good chance we won't know. Now, each class will receive a new piece of exotic armor. Warlocks are getting a pair of gauntlets called Yunoya that will make Hellion projectiles more potent. Hunters are getting a chest piece called Morai, which grants their melee the ability to detonate and retrieve tangles. Titans are getting a pair of gauntlets called Nevis Panoplia. Probably killing that name, but this will give you the power to finally summon your throwing hammer. About damn time. Now, all these exotics will be earnable via completion of the Edge of... Oh, the voice inside your head. And while you're typically athletic, right now, Brick, you're pathetic. Shame. And if you have the right auto coverage, the cost of this can hit you out of nowhere. Downy gives your sheets a delicate, fresh scent that breathes life into your laundry.
So looking for a new job?
Just found out my dad's sister's husband is golfing buddies with the CEO of a great company, so basically I got a job.
Sounds promising. Indeed, hopes and match me.
Edge of Fate Legendary Campaign. So highly advise doing the Legendary Campaign, guys, to get these guaranteed exotics. Now, if you like an in-depth look at each of these, we do have a full breakdown linked in the description below. We did get to play with them earlier this year. We even have a mix of some of the gameplay here that Vinny provided, so feel free to check that out. Now, new archetype and a few new weapon frames will be spicing up the Legendary weapon loot pool. First up, we have a spread shot hand cannon. Guys, it's a hand cannon that shoots like a shotgun. Think of it as like a sawed-off shotgun. Great at close range, but weak at distance. It also has the ability to roll with shotgun perks. Things like 1-2 punch, which is really interesting to see on a hand cannon. Next up, we have the first ever crossbow. This is going to be a heavy weapon that allows you to literally pick up your bolts after you shoot it. Meaning, theoretically, you could have infinite ammo as long as you can retrieve the bolts. Yes, it works inside of PvP, which sounds terrifying. Now, in a similar vein as the crossbow, we're also getting another new bow archetype called the high-impact longbow. Think of this as almost like Wishender, but legendary. It sports a longer, high-powered draw with over-penetrating arrows that are able to shoot through multiple enemies at once. Now, finally, we have the rocket-assisted pulse rifle. This is arguably going to be the best weapon in the sandbox, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pulse rifle, but it shoots out a 3-round burst of high-damage rockets. From what we have seen in the gameplay, fellas, it puts out a ton of damage. It's probably going to be the first weapon we jump on first for our review. Change number 10, armor and stat reworks. Funny enough, new armor and Edge of Fates will also be receiving archetypes as well. You see, armor stats are being renamed to better reflect what they actually changed, and Bungie has reworked to scale stat benefits. The first time ever, you will have the ability to stack your stats of 0 to 200s. Yes, you heard that right, 200s. Keep in mind, currently in the game now, you can only go up to 100s, or you can go beyond that, but it doesn't give you any benefits. Now you're actually going to get benefits. Now our new armor stats are going to be health, melee, grenade, super class, and weapons. And if you're wondering why they're changing the names of these, it's to stupid-proof things. You see what I'm saying? Somebody looks at discipline and they go, what is this? Despite seeing a grenade icon next to it. Now, you'll know that grenade means grenade. Weapons means weapons. Melee means melee. Now, these stats will be distributed based on an armor's archetype, though. As you can see, each archetype will have a primary and a secondary stats. These will be the highest stat categories present on an armor piece. Now, a randomly selected tertiary stat will also be selected containing the remaining available stat points. The number of stats present on an armor piece is determined by its tier, with tier 5 being the best. Additionally, you can master up all armor in 2 tier 5s to further increase the amount of stats present in specific categories. In addition to new stats, our new armor will now also offer set bonuses, providing us another layer of build crafting. So if you choose to run 2 to 4 pieces of the same armor sets, you'll see tangible benefits to your build. The main takeaway for this, guys, is that we are going to do everything we can to get that quad 200s. It's probably not going to be possible, but we're going to try, man. If we can make that work, hot damn it, that would be so sexy. And the benefits are absolutely amazing, as you can get things like increased melee damage, which is a multiplicative 30% buff at 200s, or increased weapon damage, both against minors, majors, and bosses at higher stats, or an outright increase to super damage by stacking these stats. The point is, guys, going beyond 100s is going to be worth it. Farming armor is going to be something we are all going to be doing in this next sandbox. Change number 11. Now, with the addition of a melee stats that will now increase damage